I have never let schooling interfere with my education. I have never let schooling interfere with my education. With this quote from Mark Twain, I welcome you to another edition of this wonderful program on radio, Education Today. Education Today is a program that aims to call attention of the public to education matters as they affect the effective running of the educational system and the achievement of the educational goals. This comes on air every Saturday on this station on Light Radio.
Our goal is to Our goal is to educate, inform, orientate, and entertain society on educational matters, address issues affecting the educational system, influence public opinion, and, of course, drive effective educational policy directions to guide the formulators and implementers. For your comment, questions, and contributions, you can reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/lightradio, Twitter @TheLightRadio, Instagram light_radio, YouTube Light Radio. You can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on 0809 738 4000. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us. If you just joined in, you are listening to Education Today on Light Radio. We kick off with the new segment with Aisha. Hello, Aisha.
Hello, Said.
Yeah, give us the news, please.
This is the news on Education Today, reaching you live from Light Radio. I am Aisha Hussein. First, the headlines. Ogun government shut schools, suspend principal over student death. Lower your pride, learn a skill, NYSC Bauchi boss tell core members. Suspend industrial action, federal government begs NASU and SANU. And on the foreign scene, Chicago board school head ousted because of social media posts deemed anti-Semitic, misogynistic. Now the details. The Ogun State government has shut down Obada Grammar School, Obada Idiemi, over the death of Monday Arijo, an SS2 student of the school. This followed the arrest and suspension of the teacher allegedly responsible for the death of the student on Friday last week as a result of corporal punishment. The principal of the school, Ms. Tamrat Onolapo, who was earlier issued a query for allowing corporal punishments to be used on people against the established rules and regulation in the state, has also been suspended. The closure of the school was based on the directive of the state governor, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, who has also directed that a panel should be set up to investigate the circumstances that led to the unfortunate incidents. The governor has promised that those liable by the outcome of the investigation would be made to face the full wrath of the law. Representative of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology has also visited the family of the late student. Bauchi State Coordinator of National Youth Corps Service, NYSC, Ms. Rifkatu Yakubu, has urged corps members to lower their pride and learn a skill to be self-employed and employers of labor. Yakubu made the call on Thursday in Bauchi during the distribution of Certificate of National Service to the 2023 Batch C Stream 2 corps members in the state. Yakubu said that the corps become necessary in view of scarcity of white-collar jobs. She commended those who were able to learn a skill during the service year and tasked them to effectively build on it for maximum benefit. Furthermore, Yakub urged the outgoing corps members to be good ambassadors and remain focused on their positive ambition. A total of 1,710 corps members, comprising 1,085 males and 625 females, received their Certificate of National Service at the ceremony. The federal government on Thursday met with the Joint Action Committee of the Non-Academic Staff Union of Education and Associated Institutions, NASU, and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, with an appeal to the leadership of the union to suspend the ongoing strike action. Federal universities across the country were on Monday shut by SANU and NASU following an indefinite strike by the two unions to protest failure of the government to pay them 4 months of their salaries that were withheld during the 2022 strike by the university workers. Addressing journalists after the meeting in Abuja, the former Minister of State for Education, Dr. Yusuf Sununu, who was mandated by the new Minister of Education, Dr. Chundi Alausa, to chair the meeting, explained that efforts were ongoing to resolve the issues raised by the unions. It said the government was taking a holistic approach to the matter and discussions have reached an advanced stage to meet their demands. Furthermore, Dr. Sununu gave assurances that the government was committed to a stable educational system and finding a lasting solution to the lingering crisis. The Oyo State government has reopened 23 schools after 10 years they were shut over boundary crisis in Ibadan. The schools were reopened after a meeting between Oyo State Deputy Governor Barrister Abdulrahim Adebayo Lawal and the relevant stakeholder in Ibadan on Thursday. Lawal, who is also chairman of the State Boundary Committee, charged the chairman of the 4 local governments to ensure security and peace in their domain. The deputy governor, who led the top Oyo government functionaries on an inspection tour of the school on Wednesday, emphasized the value of education for students and said it is wrong that the school has been closed for almost 12 years. He noted that the current administration will not tolerate children's inactivity, pointing out that the shutdown had greatly affected the growth and development of children in the community. And on the foreign scene, the president of Chicago School Board resigned Thursday, just a week after he was appointed because of social media posts deemed anti-Semitic, anti-women, and leading credence to a conspiracy theory about 9/11 terrorist attack. The Reverend Mitchell Johnson resignation came at the request of Mayor Brandon Johnson. In a statement released by the mayor, he said Reverend Mitchell Johnson's statements were not hurtful but deeply disturbing. I want to be clear. Anti-Semitic, misogynistic, and conspirational statements are unacceptable. Mitchell Johnson was appointed president just a week ago. He was among 7 board members tabbed earlier this month by Brandon Johnson after former member of board managing the nation's 3rd largest school district resigned en masse. Media reports have turned up social media posts by Mitchell Johnson that showed him agreeing that the 9/11 terror attack on the New York and elsewhere were an inside job. The mayor's statement came just hours after Governor J.B. Pititska demanded Mitchell Johnson's outside. Pititska this week had criticized the vetting process the mayor used in selecting the board president. The former board chosen by the mayor just months after he took office in 2023 quit rather than join a struggle that the mayor has had with schools. CEO Pedro Martinez over issues including how to close budget gaps. Martinez was appointed by Brandon Johnson's predecessor, and Martinez has refused to resign. That's all on the news for today, but before we go, we'll take another look at the major stories. Ogun government shut schools, suspend principal over students' death. Lower your pride, learn a skill, NYSC Bauchi busted core members. Suspend industrial action, federal government begs NASU, SANU. And on the foreign scene, Chicago School Board head ousted because of social media posts deemed anti-Semitic. That's the news. It was compiled by Nima Ibrahim and edited by OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. For coverage of your educational events, seminars, conference fairs, competition, among others, you can call us on 07025074268, or you can send us mail via educationmediaservice@gmail.com. I am Aisha Hussein. Thanks for listening. that's all we can take on the news for today. Right now, we'll take the Did You Know segment by side.
Mm. Yeah, thank you very much, Aisha. Good afternoon and welcome to the Did You Know segment of Education Today, where we consider random ideas, thoughts, personalities, events, concepts, and celebrations that many people are unaware of. The objective of this is to broaden our horizon and increase our base knowledge of things around us beyond what is taught in the four walls of the classroom. I am Saeed Aremo. Today, we want to talk about the greenhouse gases. What are greenhouse gases? Greenhouse gases, or GHGs for short, are chemical compounds in the Earth's atmosphere that absorb and emit infrared radiation, effectively trapping heat. This process creates what is known as the greenhouse effect, which warms the Earth's surface. The presence of these gases is crucial as they help maintain temperatures suitable for life. However, human activities have led to a significant increase in the concentration of GHGs, amplifying the greenhouse effect and contributing to global climate change. There are several primary greenhouse gases, each with a unique role in the greenhouse effect and varying levels of impact on the climate. Carbon dioxide is produced primarily by burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil and gas, deforestation and certain industrial processes. CO2 is the largest contributor to human-induced global warming. Methane, CH4, emitted from agriculture, notably from livestock, waste in landfills and natural gas extraction. Methane has a higher warming potential than CO2 over short timescales. Nitrous oxide, N2O, is generated mainly by agricultural practices, particularly the use of synthetic fertilizers, and also by industrial processes and the burning of fossil fuels. Ozone O3, while beneficial in the upper atmosphere where it blocks harmful ultraviolet radiation, ozone at the ground level is a potent greenhouse gas and an air pollutant. Fluorinated gases, also called F gases, are synthetic gases and include hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, perfluorocarbons, PFCs, and sulfur hexafluoride, SF6, used in industrial applications. They have a high global warming potential and can persist in the atmosphere for centuries. Water vapor, H2O, though is naturally occurring, water vapor is also a greenhouse gas and amplifies the greenhouse effect by trapping additional heat. Its concentration depends largely on temperature. Human activities are the primary contributors to the increased concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Key sources include fossil fuel combustion, the burning of coal, oil, and natural gas for energy in power plant, transportation, and industrial operations is one of the primary sources of greenhouse gases, and of course, global climate change. Deforestation and land use changes, such as clearing forests, reduces CO2 absorption, while land use changes release carbon stored in vegetation and the soil. In agriculture, livestock farming produces methane, and the use of nitrogen-based fertilizers releases nitrous oxide in large quantities. In industrial processes, manufacturing processes, especially in cement, steel, and chemical industries, emit significant amount of CO2 and other GHGs, which has, of course, forced manufacturing companies to look for alternatives. Waste management, such as landfills, produce methane from decomposing organic waste, and waste incineration releases CO2 and other pollutants. Increased greenhouse gas concentrations have led to several environmental and societal impacts with far-reaching consequences. At the top, we have global warming, which is defined as the average global temperature increase. It has been observed that the global temperature has increased averagely by 1.1 degrees Celsius since the pre-industrial period due to rising greenhouse gas levels. Sea levels rise, which is caused by temperature increase, melting polar ice caps, and of course causing sea levels to rise, which threatens coastal communities and ecosystems. Extreme weather events. Higher greenhouse gas levels contribute to extreme events like heat waves, droughts, heavy rainfall, and hurricanes. Biodiversity loss. Ecosystems and species struggle to adapt to rapidly changing climate, leading to biodiversity decline. And finally, there are also health risks, which are caused by higher temperatures and poor air quality that worsen respiratory issues, spread vector-borne diseases, and increase heat-related illnesses. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is critical for mitigating climate change. Efforts to decrease GHGs include renewable energy transition, which is, of course, shifting from fossil fuels to solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal energy sources, energy efficiencies, electrification of transportation, carbon capture and storage (CCS), and of course sustainable land use practices such as deforestation, soil management, and reduced deforestation, which helps sequester carbon. To address the global challenge of GHG emissions, countries have developed international agreements, including the Paris Agreement 2015, a legally binding accord where countries commit to limiting global temperature rise to below 2 degrees Celsius, ideally 1.5 degrees Celsius. This is the most popular agreement related to climate. Of course, we have the Kyoto Protocol of Japan and the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Key statistics on greenhouse gases include as of 2020, the global concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere reached approximately 415 parts per million, and since the late 19th century, the Earth's average temperature has increased, as previously said, by about 1.1 degrees Celsius. In 2020, global greenhouse gas emissions were about 59.1 gigatons of CO2 equivalent, and in 2020 also, renewable energy sources accounted for about 36% of the global energy mix. While government and industry play a major role, individuals can contribute by reducing their energy consumption, opting for public transportation, adopting plant-based diets, conserving water, recycling and reusing, and supporting renewable projects, and participating in educational engagement. Greenhouse gases play a fundamental role in maintaining the Earth's climate, but the rapid increase in their concentrations due to human activities has intensified the greenhouse effect, leading to unprecedented global warming. Combating climate change requires a collaborative effort across governments, industries, and individuals. By embracing renewable energy, improving energy efficiency, and supporting sustainable practices, we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions and work towards a more stable climate. With continued commitment to international agreements, innovation in green technologies, and individual action, the goal of stabilizing the global climate remains achievable. That's all on the Did You Know segment for this week. Education Today continues shortly. Please don't go anywhere.
Ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà, ọmọ tí kò bá ẹ̀kọ́. Ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà, iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
That was the Did You Know segment. Right now, we will take the International Day segment with Aisha once again.
Good afternoon and welcome to the International Day segment of Education Today, where we take a look at different days embarked by United Nations to commemorate different aspects of our lives as global citizens. I am Aisha Hussein. Today, we will be considering the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists, commemorated every 2nd November of the year. Observed annually on the 2nd of November, the International Day to End Impunity for Crime Against Journalists, IDEI, is dedicated to raising global awareness of the dangers journalists face and advocating for the end of impunity in crimes committed against them. Established by the United Nations in 2013, this day aimed to honor journalists who have lost their lives in line of duty and to encourage greater accountability for crimes committed against media professionals worldwide. The gravity of the issue is underscored by data from the UNESCO Observatory of Killed Journalists, which report that between 2006 and 2024, over 1,700 journalists have been killed, with nearly 90% of these cases unresolved. Journalists are essential in providing citizens with verified and reliable information, which underpins public awareness and fosters constructive debate on critical issues. When crimes against journalists go unpunished, it creates a dangerous cycle of impunity, emboldening perpetrators and hindering the press's role in the society. This impunity is not just a threat to journalists but a violation of public rights, limiting the information citizens receive and stifling freedom of expression. In many regions, the threat of violence compels journalists to self-censor or avoid certain topics, which restricts coverage of political, environmental, and humanitarian crises, among other issues. The 2024 theme, Safety of Journalists in Crisis and Emergency, highlights the complex challenges journalists face in reporting from conflict zone and areas of humanitarian crisis. These journalists often encounter extreme risk from threats to their lives, to arbitrary detention, enforced disappearance, or torture. Reporting under such conditions is increasingly difficult and perilous, yet essential to bring to light issues impacting the global community. While UNESCO has reported a gradual decrease in killing of journalists in conflict zones in recent years, 2023 data marked a troubling increase, with over half of journalist killings occurring in crisis zones. This trend has persisted into 2024, reinforcing the need for immediate concerted action to protect journalists working in high-risk environments. Conflict zones such as areas affected by war, political upheaval, or severe natural disasters are often described as zones of silence. When the press is forced to flee or blocked from covering stories, depriving the world of crucial perspective and leaving affected population even more vulnerable. IDEI urges organizations and individuals globally to spotlight unresolved cases of violence against journalists and advocate for justice. UNESCO, through its Director General's biennial report on safety of journalists and the danger of impunity, tracks and publicizes these cases, seeking accountability from governments and highlighting the measures taken to resolve them. In addition, UNESCO collaborates with the civil society organizations to amplify awareness through campaigns, advocacy reports, and events, each initiative seeking to create a safe and supportive environment for journalists. Today's journalists face threats in both physical and digital spaces. Digital harassment such as online intimidation, doxing, and hacking has added to the dangers media professionals encounter. Women journalists are particularly vulnerable to gender-based threats, which can escalate from online abuse to physical attacks. Efforts to protect journalists must to combat cyberbullying and provide resources for digital security. This year's main global observance for the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists will take place on 6th to 7th of November at African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. This event, under the theme Safety of Journalists in Crisis and Emergency, will feature discussion on policy framework, protection strategies, and legal mechanisms that can reduce the risk for journalists working in conflict zones. This event underscores UNESCO's and the African Union's dedication to addressing the escalating threat faced by journalists, especially in areas with weak legal protection. The IDEA 2024 commemoration will also see the release of the latest UNESCO report on journalist safety, offering an analysis of state responses to impunity cases and a comprehensive overview of recent global incidents involving media professionals. By focusing on proactive and preventive measures, the report aims to drive legislative reform and international collaboration to enhance protection for journalists in crisis zone and beyond. Ending impunity for crime against journalists require coordinated efforts from government, intergovernmental organizations, civil society, and the public. Individuals and organizations worldwide can partake in the IDEI by raising awareness about unresolved cases of violence against journalists, contacting government representatives to demand accountability, and supporting freedom of expression advocacy groups. A collective sustained response is crucial to ensure that those responsible for violence against journalists are held accountable and that the safety of journalists is prioritized globally. As we observe the 2024 International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists, we recognize the vital role of a free press in maintaining democratic society and upholding human rights. By committing to justice for journalists and establishing protection for those reporting from the front lines, we strengthen freedom of expression and protect the fundamental right of all citizens to access information. Through heightened awareness and concerted global action, the path to ending impunity becomes a shared goal, reinforcing the message that crimes against journalists will not go unpunished. That's it on the International Day segment. I remain Aisha Hussein. Education Today continues in a moment. Don't go anywhere. You are still on Education Today on Light Radio. Right now, we are moving into the discourse segment, and our guest is here with us. Today is the World Teachers Day.
You are still on to Education Today on Light Radio, and right now we are moving into the discourse segment, and our guest is here with us. Today we are discussing corporal punishment in schools. Is it desirable or is it old-fashioned? A quick background: in Ogun State, just this week, a student was beaten till he eventually died in Ogun State here, and this has raised a lot of concerns, right, from parents and even the state government suspending the people that are involved. So on the program today, we are looking at the topic, right, the idea, the concept of corporal punishment, right? Should we spare the rod and spoil the child, right? So how should we even punish our students or even our young ones generally, right? So these and many more questions that we're going to be answering on the program today. And yeah, discussing this is going to be our educational administrator, our lecturer, our researcher, and an educational consultant, and of course our in-house analyst, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Good afternoon, Mr. KAZEEM.
Good afternoon, Said. Good afternoon, Aisha. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
Yeah, remember you can be part of the discourse by sending your comment and questions to 08097384000, or you can drop your comment via the live video feeds on Facebook and YouTube. Before moving into the discourse proper, our short quiz question: on which day is the International Day for Crime Against Journalists commemorated? Again, which day is the International Day to end crimes against journalists commemorated? So end impunity here against journalists commemorated. Remember, you can send your answer to you can leave your answers you can send answers to the WhatsApp number 00973844000, or you can leave it as comment on our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answer is going to win the prize. All right, so Mr. KAZEEM.
So digging into the discourse proper. Our first question for you: corporal punishment, is it desirable or undesired? So what is corporal punishment, and how does it apply to the school system? And you can bring it down to how does it apply to school system in Nigeria?
All right, thank you very much. I'll talk about corporal punishment. The word punishment for for every action. In physics, talk about to every action there is an equal but opposite reaction. I hope I'm still very much correct. All right. Now the thing there is that naturally, when an action is committed, there are always consequences. Is that not so? So if you do something that is right, expectedly you're supposed to get a reward, and if you do something wrong, you're expected to get punishment. Now, in enforcing this punishment, the idea of inflicting a physical pain or using physical measures to enforce discipline, probably the use of cane, the use of any other objects, because you feel that someone deserves to be punished for an action such a person has performed. So that is corporal punishment. And it's not something that is probably new in our society. And it's not just even about the Nigerian society. It's a global thing. Naturally, all over the world, before now that we're not talking about probably civilization and adopting some other methods of correcting people's actions, before now, the idea of punishing people for whatever wrong they have committed is there, and we use physical methods. Just like Said said in his introductory statement, spare the rod and spoil the child. It's something that virtually everyone believes, but over time things are changing. So for the school system itself, it's just like a continuation of probably what goes on, a reflection of what we have in the general society. That because in schools you also have rules and regulations, and there we are trying to shape the behavior of the students and every individual. So expectedly you feel like, when people do what is right, we need to show them that it pays to do what is right. You get a reward at the end of probably the session. You have prize giving day and things like that. So for something wrong too, you try to show the people that no, we will not accept this. You come late to school, probably you should get punished. You fail to dress properly, you get punished. You make a noise in class, you get this action again. So that's the idea. I want to send a message. That's the belief. So that using that cane, using physical objects, whether it's ruler, whether it's belt, whether it's horse whip, whether it's anything, that we need to use that to inflict pain on the people, not because we just enjoy inflicting the pain, because we feel like that is a necessity to shape on the behavior, the action, and the disposition, especially of schools or of the child. Now, when we not talk about the school system, of students, under the guidance of the school, that is the idea of corporal punishment.
I'm interested in the word corporal itself, right? Like, is it corporal as in the military position, or corporal as it relates to the body? Like, how did the word itself come about?
Well, I cannot say this is the exact word. I don't know, understand. I have not done my research on the etymology of the word, and how it came about. But I believe that talking about military system and even societal wise, generally, it's something that has passed from one generation to another generation. And the idea is that, naturally, even if you look at it origin wise, there are cultural and religious dimensions to corporal punishment. In religious spheres, it is believed that if you do what is wrong, you should get punished. That's why the idea of spare the rod and spoil the child is actually a biblical, statement. And if you also even look at, for Muslims too, there are also punishment for wrong actions. They also have corporal punishment. In fact, some would even say that is even severe. If you also go to the Jewish, tradition, you also have it. In fact, there's, just like Islam too, and Christian, you have this idea that, okay, probably when you commit blasphemy, you get this. You commit, armed robbery, you probably should be beaten so number of, whips or so. If you probably commit, adultery or things like that, probably the idea of stoning and things like that. See, all these things dovetails into what the society now accepts as probably right and wrong. And at the end of the day, they feel like, for anyone, because we also feel like their own way of correcting the ills in the society is also to inflict a form of punishment and let people suffer from their wrong actions, so that at the end of the day, for others, they can say, do you also want to suffer the same fate? If you don't want to suffer the same fate. They will even tell you that, okay, the devil resides in the heart of a stubborn child. So it needs a cane, to send it out. That's the mentality. And if you now understand the fact that what we call formal education actually started with these religious groups.
Actually, yeah. Particularly in Africa.
Yeah. So, but Islam and Islamic education and the Western missionaries, these are people that also provide, so to say, scriptural, evidences and basis for punishment of people, and they also feel like it's also a way of reforming the behavior of students. So at the end of the day, they feel like at that tender age, we quickly need to send this stern message to them, so that by the time they grow up, and naturally, even the Yorubas will tell you that it is from childhood, from that tender age, that you actually cut, the branches of an Iroko tree, because when it grows up, your hand will not be able to reach it again. So if you actually don't cut the branches from childhood, by the time it grows up, it will be very, very stubborn, and it will be too thick, too long, and disturbing. So at the end of the day, you feel like you need to cut the branches when it is still very much young. So it is that same attitude and that same belief, that system, they also brought to the educational system, thinking that at least for these children,
Yes.
as they are growing up, we need to cut their wings, instill some level of fear in them, for them to move away from what is wrong, and encourage them to do what is right. And for whoever that does what is wrong, we need to send the message that there are consequences for their wrong actions.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, on that now, do you think like this corporal punishment have been effective, and can you like briefly discuss their effectiveness?
See, a lot of us growing up,
like maintaining discipline.
a lot of us growing up, that was all we're used to. And to a large extent, it shaped us. In fact, for a lot of people that are now social deviants in our society today, are many of those who probably did not pass through that system, or were spared when others were being punished, probably because of some one or two privileges, or because they had parents who felt that, no, don't touch my child. Your brothers will say, "Bami no mommy, kude no loma." So we now have some parents that feel like, how dare nobody must touch my child.
And
A lot of them. So, and but for those who probably were properly sure, they tell you, you didn't go through punishment, and you now claim that you know anything, or you are very good, or you are well behaved. Who is your teacher? Because naturally you feel like you must pass through that system to really reset your brain. In fact, some would even say that our mothers, they have different kinds of slaps and what have you that will reset your brain when you misbehave. That's the belief. And to a large extent, for the African society, I might not know of probably the American society or the European society, because a lot of them came up with some of these ideas. It's a world of liberty, freedom, and they feel like human rights. They quickly champion the cause of human rights before a lot of us started talking about human rights. No, the idea is we are not just, their system moved from society centered to child centered, but in our own case here, it's not just about child center, it's actually about society center. So we're looking at the general interest of the society, not just the general interest of a particular child. That we cannot jettison the interest of the society because of one child.
Yeah.
I will feel like that will probably be according them some special privileges that they don't deserve. And I will feel like it's actually unfair. And that's why that system, if people were made to grow through that system and grow with such system, with the mentality that a child needs some level of punishment, so to say, to be able to make them effective. And to a large extent, a lot of us, because of the fear of cane and what have you, some of us behaved ourselves, not probably because initially we wanted to do what is right, but you have like your brothers will say so you're like so as you have seen it became a deterrence to a lot of us that no, I don't want to suffer the same fate, so let me just do what is expected. If you come late to school today and you were punished, kneel down in the rain or in the sun, wash the toilet, you're beaten and all parts of your body. If you complain at home and say, in fact, even when you do something wrong at home, your parents will even say, please, I'll report you to your teacher. Teacher, please let me beat this child very well. He's not cooperating, he's misbehaving. So you dare not repeat such an action again, because you know quite well that there will be consequences. But for a lot of people who probably did not go through that, some of them became social deviants. And they're untouchable because then. So when they now became grown up, because they were used to having their way with whatever they did, and there was no consequences for them, so they felt that that's the way to go. So I can actually use my influence to get things, and whoever that goes against what I want now is seen as an enemy. And for a lot of them, see, they're probably attacking teachers, attacking the schools, and doing all sorts. And probably they became, the touts on the street, the thugs, being used by politicians and things like that. Go and look at a lot of them. It started probably even from when they were students, when they were young, and they were not allowed to be corrected, or they got so-called special privileges, unlike every other person, and that affected them. Today, it might not be working like that. The mentality has changed. The orientation is changing. But for some people, they say, feel like, come on, we are not getting it. Or probably some people will feel, they'll tell you that you people are importing these Western ideas into our society, and it will corrupt us, because the way the African man, the African child is wired is quite different from the way a European, person is wired. So that, I am not justifying that. I'm only telling you it worked in the past. It worked. But the society is changing, and we cannot afford to just stay at a point. And the reality is that, the only thing that is permanent in life itself is change.
So, judging from all of the explanation you've given about this corporal punishment being effective, how does it, affect the relationship within teachers and, teacher and students in the past, and, you can delve into the present too?
All right. So, in the past, then, the students saw it as a way by which their behavior and attitudes are actually being shaped, and they see it as a way of correction from the teacher. So a lot of students then did not hold grudge against the teachers for such punishment, and we have many parents too that would even come to the school and say, you people are just too lenient with these children. You are allowing them get away with some of these things. During our own time, we never got away with that. So if you don't instill the fear in them, so where will they get the fear? Because a lot of us, even at home, they will not listen to us. But they fear their teacher more than, the parents. So society even expects a lot. So then, but in terms of the relationship between the teacher and the student, it's a function of how well the teacher is even able to pass the message. Because for some, it's a case of, I didn't even know what I did, and teacher just beat me and things like that. Even in the past, there were situations where people rebel against such moves that we didn't do anything. Some would probably even go to the extent of complaining to the principal. But some, it's a case of, no, I would punish all of you. Do you know why I want to punish you? When a teacher tells you, do you know why I want to punish you? Do you know why you are being punished? Okay, this. So for such, you're like, oh, okay, sorry, ma, sorry, sir, I will not do that again, and things like that. So for such, they did not hold such grudge. In fact, I remember that as a lot of us, when we get to have this opportunity of reunion as old students, that in primary school or primary school set or secondary school set, and we reminisce about those nostalgic feelings that we get when we probably reminisce about our primary and secondary school. Like, do you remember Mr. So Mr. Daudu, Mr. Murphy? Do you know? When he gets to the corridor like this, the whole corridor will clear, everybody run away and things like we joke with some of this, and today when we see them, we honor them, we appreciate them. Sir, if not for your cane, I don't know where I'll be today, because I know I was very stubborn and things like that. Some of us still keep it, such, close relationship with them when we see them, and still get to appreciate them, because we saw it then as a means of correction. And appreciated it. But the society today is discouraging the use of physical punishment because some of the excesses that have characterized such, and the fact that gradually society is actually even moving away from that idea. So whoever that now chooses to remain in the past, gets to be viewed or perceived in a different way as it was in the past. And that's why we are saying that there is a need for us to change our orientation. Because now, with human rights advocacy, a lot of people feel like, no, my rights are actually being infringed upon. And that the essence of punishment is not the physical harm or the injury that is inflicted on the body of a child. It's about the message you're trying to pass. And that you can actually still pass that message without inflicting the harm. And that there are many ways to kill a dog other than strangling it. So we should not just be fixated on the use of cane to instill discipline. The word is discipline, not punishment. Even for punishment, the moment you take the objective of discipline out of it, then it becomes wickedness. So we must be able to draw the line between punishment and wickedness in the process of instilling discipline. Punishment can instill discipline And punishment does not have to involve physical harm or physical injury. That's the mentality now. And for children of today, they are being, nurtured with such a mentality that the emphasis is on discipline and not physical or bodily harm.
So from there, what alternative measures can we use?
There are different methods parents, teachers, older members of the society can adopt to instill discipline and reform the behavior of children.
How?
Without necessarily using force. It takes us to first reflect on what exactly we want to achieve and how best can we connect with such a child. Because in the past, truly, it's not about connecting with a child. It's about the fact that we want to use you as an example for others.
Scapegoat.
Well, you can call it scapegoating, but then it's not about scapegoating really, but about deterrence. That's the word, deterrence. To deter others from repeating or doing such an action again. So what we are saying here is, it depends. Let me give you an instance. The teacher of my son, at a point, my son would not write. Others are writing, I would just decide not to write. Why? The boy would not explain. And teacher would, okay. At the point, teacher would say, okay, don't worry. When others are going on break, you will not go on break. When others are taking their meals, no lunch for you. See your food is here until you finish writing before you'll be able to eat your food. So, and my son will not play with his food. So for that reason, instantly you start writing. Now, the teacher has been able to connect with what that boy loves. So attached the work to be done with the food that has to be taken. The boy wants to eat, and the teacher wants the boy to write. So it's a case of give and take. Do your work, write what you're supposed to write, and you will have access to your food. So look at, no cane. Because another teacher has used cane and inflicted a bodily harm. In fact, that it injured my boy's eyes. Now, I was, come on, I was crazy. I was mad. But then I was just like, I'm also a teacher. And I know quite well that the teacher would not intentionally wish to injure my boy's eye. So I must get hold of myself. So, but then I had to go to the school to complain that, no, we don't need to go those routes before we do the needful. And at the end of the day, we got, an understanding and we're able to resolve. So that's what we are saying, that there are ways to connect. How about this time, even in the past, that our teachers will tell you, I will never do that again. Write in a big note and complete from beginning till the end. And you must not jump a line. You will write and write and write and write and write. You get tired, and you know that you cannot dare to stop because the following day you must bring that note. Imagine you buy the big note purposely because of that statement you want to write. I will never do that again. And you complete a whole big note of writing, I'll never do that again. If you have ever experienced it, if you are told do this, instantly you will do it. Look at, no bodily harm there. But then, the effects. How about the fact some will even talk about some of these, different measures. Probably you have to do squatting, or you tell you, okay, stood down, or raise your hands and things like that. So many of these things. You don't have to use the cane. But eventually, some of these things even prove more effective than the use of the cane. Because at some point, I had some colleagues there and said, I know it's cane, yeah. If you want to beat me 100, just do like this. And at the end, you dust it. And do like a big boy. And all these colleagues will hail him, hey, biggest boy. At the end of the day, such a child has lost it. Because the objective is lost. It's lost on the child. It's lost on the colleagues and
the society
as a whole.
So are there any long-term effects of corporal punishment on students' mental and physical health?
Yes. The example we cited actually caused this discussion is a perfect example of what can happen. Although we cannot say for sure that it's the cane that actually led to the death of that student, that SS2 student in Ogun State. The teacher beat the child, and some complained that the number of strokes was just too much for the child, and the child went home, probably, felt sick, taken to the hospital, and did not make it. Now the child is arrested, the principal is suspended, the school is closed. Look at that. Now, for a child, for some, they see it as a form of violence and aggression. Some, you're sending a wrong message. Some feel like, so especially for young kids, you're making them probably feel like it's right, it's good to hit people when you're angry, when you're dissatisfied. Because that's the way they see it. So when someone offends me and I have the power to use, a physical object, it is right to inflict harm on others. Imagine what message are we passing to such a 5-year, 10-year-old child, that it's right to hit people. Such people might grow up to probably abuse their wives and abuse other young people under their care, because they are being made to feel like this. For some, it affects their health. For some, beyond that, is the fact that they feel like might is right. Might is right. Some of you, whether people like it or not, what's probably going on between Israel and Palestine today? Some people tell you it's just the world showing that, yes, might is right. And for some, they feel like, my rights have been violated, because sometimes it's on the basis of what a teacher feels is right, not necessarily because, according to the rules and regulations, this particular thing you have done is right. This is the particular offense that you have committed. This is the particular rule of the school that you have broken, and this is the penalty that is attached to it. If we don't spell such out in black and white, so it means people are left to their whims and caprices to decide whatsoever they want to do. Then beyond that, the issue of saying that the rights of people are actually being violated is that we're also talking about the issue of fear and aggression and violence. And if this is something people are witnessing in the school, then what do you think we are trying to say? For some people, for some children, they are troubled. They're emotionally traumatized by such experience. Imagine a teacher beating a child 50 strokes of cane. I'm like, did I commit capital offense? God bless you. Because like, I keep person. And for some children, because of that, they hate the school. It affects their academics. And for some, they may feel like school is not the place for me. And some, even for those that still remain within their school system, it affects them academically. Because they feel like, I am not safe under the care of this particular teacher. Do you think a child that is afraid of a teacher can learn anything from such a teacher? That all that you see is fear. The monster has come again. So it becomes then how then do you draw the line? Because such a child is seeing the teacher as like an abuser, a child abuser. And he's seeing himself as a victim. Not necessarily because he was able to connect with the fact that, it was because I did something wrong. And for some, they feel like what I did is not commensurate with the punishment I received. And ordinarily, when we talk about punishment in education, it serves 3 purposes. First is retribution. Second is reformation. And the third is deterrence. So if you are reforming a child, that, you did what is wrong. This punishment you're getting because we want you to be a better person, not to move this way again. That's one. That's reformation. The second is retribution. Probably it involves a child, a student with another student. And a particular student has, been oppressed, has been maltreated. So as a way of getting justice for such, a maltreated student, you probably punish another person. Maybe, this is what you have to do to him or her as a way of correcting what you have done or something like that. That is that. Retribution. And the third is deterrence, to pass the message to all those that are there that it is not good, it is not right to do this. So we're sending that message to all of you not to follow what this person has done. Do we get it? So the moment anything you want to do, first remove the idea of physical harm. Then the second is ask yourself, what will this punishment achieve? Are you with me? So the moment you cannot pinpoint any of those three things in a way that is simplified for the child to even understand and connect with, then it's no longer punishment, it's no longer discipline, it's now aggression.
Wickedness.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. KAZEEM. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, the program continues. Don't go anywhere.
Bàtà mi á dún kókókan. Bàtà mi á dún kókókan. Bàtà rẹ̀ á dún kókókan.
Yeah, welcome back. You're still on to education today, and we have been having Mr. OLUBUNMI on our discuss segment, corporal punishment in schools. Are they desirable or are they now old-fashioned? Yeah, Mr. KAZEEM, I would, of course, want you to shed light on the principle of, okay, let me not call it a principle, right? One of the arguments against corporal punishment is that adults also do make mistakes, right? So, what is their own punishment? Like the case of this man right now, what do you think should be? I mean, I would consider this a mistake, right? So, what do you think should be the punishment? And can we actually use that logic that, okay, adults do make mistakes, they get away with it, to also apply it to children? Like, are they in the same, like, psychological...
And that's why, God bless you, that's why the first thing we are saying is that corporal punishment is becoming a thing of the past. And we need to move away from corporal punishment. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about adults now. Although the justification a lot of people will give is, see, these children, they don't have the mind to discern properly
Exactly.
what is right from what is wrong. But as an adult, you should know.
Exactly.
And for an adult, it's not about the cane or whatsoever. You don't probably even need to use a cane to send a message to an adult.
So why do you need
So
this for children?
now, so God bless you. So that's the reason a lot of people are saying we don't have to go the route of corporal punishment. We can actually do away with corporal punishment and still send the message in a way that will make them reason just like adults. And that's why, for me, there are many ways by which we can go about instilling discipline or punishing people for their wrong behavior without having to go, this, way of corporal punishment, beating and the likes like that. Are you with me? Deny people some privileges when they know that it's because I have done this. That's why this privilege has been withdrawn. Okay, let me give you an instance. All right. As a parent, I know quite well that probably apart from eating at home, breakfast and other things like that, there are some other things I give you as extra. Maybe I give you some tips, I give you some, probably snacks and what have you, just, as, whatever, pocket money and whatever thing you want to call it. And these are privileges, they are not rights. Your right is to be fed. If I feel like you have taken breakfast at home and you're still taking some things to school, you're still doing this, you're still doing that, and I'll make you understand that, for these that you have done, these privileges, you would not enjoy it. At home, you watch television. I probably allow you to watch cartoons. I allow you to watch some movies and things like that. For these that you have done, for the next 1 week, no television. That's a privilege that is being withdrawn. You don't have to go physical. Are you with me? Or, okay, you're doing this. Well, as everyone is going to this place, you will go to a different place. Because we want you to understand the fact that you cannot continue with this behavior and you still want to connect with us. There are ways by which you can do this. So we're trying to say that even for adults and for me, and I think it's very much important that let children see that if an adult does something wrong, there is punishment. If the adult also gets punished, the same way probably some of us will celebrate it with, when children are punished and everybody come and see, we are doing this. Let them also see the adults also get it. So that at the end of the day, you don't feel like I'm too old to be punished. And that there is a sense of justice in what we are doing. That I'm young and I'm old. If I do what is wrong, there are consequences for it. Exactly. And I think that's, the most important thing to do.
Okay, so now do you think corporal punishment should be abolished entirely in schools based on
Absolutely. But it's something that I think we should do in phases. Especially because, see, Just like you're saying that some people are advocating that, oh, that you should probably abolish, the issue of death penalty in some, argument. The reality is, for some people, a life has been lost. Or you're saying, oh, someone should just come and pay a fine. That does not equate for the crime. The same way. So for some people, they're already used to the fact that this is how a child should be raised. So unless you actually reorientate, so let us take it in phases. We are trying to, so let's de-emphasize it. For some, it's just a case of, they'll tell you, have the cane at home, don't use it. When a child is about to be, you say, can you see it? It is there for a purpose. So that at the end of the day, every now and then, it sends a message that, that is consequence for this that I want to do, and I don't want to become a victim of this. So, but you're not using it. So you're trying to de-emphasize it. So let us do it in phases until we're able to phase it out totally. So it means, therefore, that it's not just about the schools. How about the homes? How about it's probably some religious gatherings or some, Sunday schools, madrasas and the likes like that. These are things we need. Even in places of work where people learn at this apprenticeship system. And that's why a lot of people feel like, see, if you are beaten in a school, you go and you say you are not going again. You go and report to your parents. Your parents will come to school, go and fight. Now you are told to actually go and learn, how to do this. You are learning this, artisanship, this apprenticeship, program, as a mechanic, as, furniture, these are doing that. And when you come late, you are beaten severely with wire, with, all sorts of things. And you dare not come the following day. See, and you see, and that's why even some people are no longer even learning it again. Like this, no, let's rather go to something else. And eventually you have people that in school, they cannot perform. Now, even in the places of work where they are learning trade or, some skills, they're also not forthcoming. So it's something that we need, a whole, a wholesome, approach to do. It's not just about the school, but we are saying that it has to start from the school. If schools de-emphasize it, we also need to orientate parents that, please, don't use cane. Use some other things. Connect with this child. Let them understand what they are doing. Speak with them. Let them know this is right, this is wrong. And because a lot of times too, see, one thing and this I always say, we punish people when they do what is wrong. But do we reward people when they do what is right? So at the end of the day, if we bring both together, people are seeing the benefits of doing good. They will do good. But if you're only scaring them away from what is wrong, they will just do it because they feel like, well, because someone will catch me. It's just like someone who feels like, oh, there is a traffic light there. All right, during the day. Okay, because traffic warden will, arrest me, I'll be apprehended. If I go against it, then they will not. But if they feel like the traffic warden is not there, they will go through that way. So these are things that I think we really need to, work on.
Now my final question will be that what role should government play in regulating corporal punishment, and you explain how schools can come in, so you can just push it together.
All right. So now look at the case of that Ogun State thing. The commissioner said that already they've tried to actually sensitize teachers, and now for that reason, it's because the teacher has actually been suspended and arrested because they feel like, so you have actually flouted the rules of the state concerning the use of cane, that we have said stop this corporal punishment. So for that reason, the educational system, this government really needs to do a lot more in terms of reorientating teachers, retraining teachers on alternatives to corporal punishment. See, when teachers are properly trained and when they are taught and exposed to other methods by which they can instill discipline without actually having to use the cane, and at the end of the day, when you say, okay, this school for 1 year, no corporal punishment was undertaken, and from your records, in terms of your disciplinary record, this is what you're able to get and this is what you're getting as a reward, other schools will also follow suit. Then at the same time, the government also needs to find a way also reorientating parents and reorientating. You see,
Society.
When we do more, the government also does more in terms of advocacy, some campaigns and the likes like that on media, mainstream media, social media, and other things like that, using probably some of these celebrities to say that we don't want corporal punishment again. These are things that you can do. So by the time we do all that, one way or the other, the mentality would change and people would move towards, a more democratic, a more humane approach, to instilling discipline and correcting bad behavior without having to use corporal punishment.
Thank you very much for your time. So that's all we can take on the discuss segment for today. We'd like to appreciate our guest, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, for the beautiful insights he has provided on today's program. Now we'll be moving to the words on the marble. You're welcome to the Words on the Marble segment of Education Today, where we take a look at memorable quotes that are educational and inspirational to everyone. Today, we have a quote from Herbert Spencer. According to him, the great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. That's our word on the marble for today. The aim of education is not to store knowledge in our brains, but to act upon what we have learned. It is to push us to act, to solve our problems and address issues facing the society. Let our knowledge push us to do the needful to make the world a better place. So, do we have an answer to... So the answer to the question is 7th to 8th of November this year at Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So this is to inform your esteemed listener that you can advertise your product and service and also showcase your events on our program. This you can do by calling the numbers 070-250-74268. 070-250-74268. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let us know how you feel about today's program through our medias, www.facebook.com/educationtoday. You can also send an email to educationmediaservice@gmail.com. Many thanks to the entire crew of Education Today and the management of Light Radio. Do join us same time next week on this station. I remain Aisha Hussein. See you next week and goodbye.